Hey everyone, David MacDonald here from Vitality Fitness Calgary. Today we're going to go over your exercise of the week. Exercise of the week this week is a very interesting exercise. It's an exercise that does get butchered a lot at the gym. I'm going to be very honest. It's an exercise that does require a lot of precise technique, and it's an exercise where form is so important, and it's one that most people do incorrectly. So the exercise of the week today is a kettlebell swing. So kettlebell swing is a great exercise for working the hip extensors. So when I mean hip extensors, that's the muscles that are going to help extend the hips. So when I'm here and then I move to here, I'm extending my hips. So when you extend your hips, your glutes, your hamstrings, and your lower back all assist with that. Okay? The other great thing about a kettlebell swing is it also helps to increase and build core strength. Because when you do a kettlebell swing, you do want to keep nice and tight and engaged through the torso and through that transverse abdominal muscle. So you are protecting the low back, and you're not using the low back entirely to stabilize the spine. A great exercise for that. Also a really good exercise is a cardiovascular exercise. So once you get the technique down and you understand the fundamentals of a kettlebell swing, it's also great if you wanted to add in as part of a cardio circuit or a cardio workout. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up into a kettlebell swing. There's a couple things that you want to think about when you're in the kettlebell swing. I have my phone there so I don't wreck it. What you want to do is you want to bring your feet about hip width apart. Okay, so that's the starting position. You want to have your shoulders back and down. Okay, chin is neutral. So no matter where you're at in the movement, your chin is always here. So you're never doing this. You're never doing that. A very common thing people will do when they start moving through the kettlebell swing is they'll start moving their head up and down. So you've got to keep that chin as neutral as you can. I'll admit I have a very bad habit of moving my chin, especially when I'm getting tired. So it's something that you want to put some extra focus on. The next thing you want to do is you want to bend at the knees before you start your hinge. Okay, so you're going to have a slight bend in the knees. Sorry, before you bend at the knees, bracing those abs, getting them nice and tight. Okay, then you're going to bend at the knees a bit. Okay, and that's going to allow you to get a good hip hinge. Okay, so what we're going to do from here is we're going to hinge back at those hips, reach back, keep those abs tight. Okay, and then from here, we're going to unhinge, or we're going to extend through the hips, and then we're going to bring the kettlebell forward. So the kettlebell is going to come from between our legs to in front of us. Okay, but we don't want to use the arms when we're doing this. We want to use the hips. We're starting here, squeezing the glutes and hamstrings as we bring that kettlebell forward. Notice that I'm not using my arms to do this movement. It's all in the hips. You guys watched Happy Gilmore before. He says that a lot. You guys remember that quote? I'm not going to go there. Okay, so anyway, you really want to focus on the hips, okay, glutes, hamstrings to propel the hips forward. Okay, now something you can do to help you with kettlebell swings to get that technique down is you can actually do it over a box or a bench. Okay, if you do it over a box or bench, that will help you understand and help you develop the hinging aspect or the hinging mechanics. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up both box and a bench. I'm going to grab a bench right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to set both up. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. So again, big benefit of doing it over a box or a bench, because what a lot of people do when they swing is they'll squat. Okay, they'll do one of these. So there's a big difference between a squat and a hinge. Okay, the kettlebell swing is going to mimic more of a Romanian deadlift as opposed to a squat. So the other thing you could do, the only disadvantage about this is my feet are a little wide. Okay, so bench is probably going to be better because it's going to allow me to get more narrow, but this could work as well. Your goal is to make sure the kettlebell stays above the bench, doesn't touch it. Okay, so that's one way you could do it. This way is better in my opinion because it's higher. Okay, so it really teaches people that they have to hinge but not drop into that squat where they hit the bench. Okay, and it allows me to get my feet to that hip width apart position. So we're going to set up here, so chin neutral, shoulders back, abs tight, feet are about hip width apart. Okay, from here we're going to hinge, shoot the hips forward. Go a little bit wider. Okay, so notice when I go, if I squat rather than hinge, that's going to happen. Okay, so that bench is there to give you feedback to prevent you from squatting and dropping that kettlebell too low. We literally want to bring the kettlebell back in between our legs. Okay, we don't want to drop it too low, and then we're going to shoot the hips or extend the hips forward. Okay, so that's a kettlebell swing, guys. Big muscle groups that you're working, glutes, hamstrings, a little bit in that low back, lots of core as well, okay, because you're having to stabilize throughout the movement. So that's your exercise of the week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon.